Hello everyone, welcome back to another part of the movies info tutorial. So this is the part 3. We have left the part 2 where we have imported actually fetched the API data and we could see it on the console, and we have already set up our project. So in this part we are going to create Navbar and create some UI. So this is where we left the part 2 if you have already watched that video, and check out the link in the description for the Google Drive for the API links for this one and for the assets. So if you want to copy it from the link directly and paste it into your API links, you can do that, or you can just write it down, pause the screen if you want to. But now let's get started on the navbar. So currently our navbar looks like this, pretty blank with navbar and TV show. Since I'm on the TV show URL, let's just go to home URL. So we are in home, and how we want it to look like, how we actually want our navbar to look like is this. So if you reload, we see different pictures. So let's try to fetch those backdrop path, which are these background images, and have those NavLinks, this logo, the search bar, the user, and all the information you could see in front of you. So let's get started on that one. So we come back to where we left, and now what we're going to do, we're going to use a useState variable. So callback function, what we can do in order to do that, we can import useState from React, and here we can declare that const movie data. I'm going to name it, you can name it whatever you want again, but just be more specific so it's related. So the callback function has a set movie data, and then we can use state, and we have to initialize this. So how I'm going to initialize this is gonna provide some default types. So backdrop path, just trying to be relative here because the background image is called backdrop path on the API. So we're gonna pass a string, and we are also gonna fetch a title of each movie that's gonna get stored into this as a string, and an overview which is also gonna be stored as a string. So what is these three things are gonna do? They're gonna store the information. So the backdrop path will be the whole image, the title would be this title, and the overview would be this overview. So that's the information that's going to get stored into them. So now let's move on to our fetch data function. We're not going to do much change around it, just going to play around with it. So I'm just going to change the rename of my variable. So I'm going to name it response, and actually let's just do one thing first. First of all we want to show the background image based on which page we are on. If you don't know what I mean, we are like now we are on movies. So when we are on the movies, we only want to show movies as the background images of our cover image. If we are on the TV shows, then we would like to render the TV images. How are we gonna do that? We're gonna pass this function a parameter called page as a string, and then we will conditionally check how that thing is. So we're going to create a variable here. I'm going to create a let URL, and inside this I'm going to store base URL. So what is base URL? Base URL is the actual URL of our endpoint. So this, we can actually go into this, we can import that base URL, and we can pass it here. And what we're gonna do, that slash, we're gonna pass it the page, then the API key. So what's the API key? That's also gonna come from this API link. So this is the API key you can see in front of you. So I'm gonna import that too here, API key, comma, and then pass it here. So with that done, what's the next thing? We're gonna conditionally check if the URL is on TV, then we wanna send the URL to popular shows, and else if it's not TV, then that means it's movies. So we're gonna set the URL to make sure to use the temporal literals, not the string here, because we are actually combining this whole thing here. So we're gonna pass it to popular, just popular. Popular is for movies, so we can import that popular, also coming from this API link from here. So popular, we want to come to our try block, and I'm gonna rename these variables here. I'm gonna rename this to response, and instead of popular show, now we can pass it this URL. So we got that, and this one we will name data, and now we can get rid of this console, and we need to randomly generate the image. So every time we refresh, we see a new background image. So we can do const random random index. So we're going to use the math.float to round up that, and also we're going to use math.random number. That's how we generate random number in JavaScript. I'm pretty sure you guys are aware of it if you're coming from a JavaScript background. Data.results length, and now let's get the random media. So const random media data dot results, and we pass that random index to this. So why we are not getting that? Okay, because this is supposed to be a response, not result. So this is what we are getting the response from. And after that, we'll just check conditionally again if random media and random media dot backdrop path. So there is a difference between this backdrop path and this backdrop path. This is the backdrop path that actually on the API endpoint, this is what we declared. So how that's going to work, we can set this callback function. So we can set the movie data now to what? So we want to set these three things that we have declared here, initialize here. Then we can set the backdrop path to this string here. So we're gonna set it https image.tmdb, the movie database .org/t/p/original, and then this random media dot backdrop path. So this is what the background image is called on the endpoint. So we have to use it exactly as this. So you cannot name this by yourself. So just use backdrop path here. Title would be random media dot title, or if it's not available, actually for the movies it's called title, for the TV shows it's random media dot name. So this is what the actual names are on that endpoint. Or if the name is not available for that particular movie or TV show, what we can do, we can just use empty string instead of fetching anything from there. The last thing we were fetching is the overview. So overview random media dot overview, or just empty string. Now with that, we can leave our catch block as it is, and inside our use effect hook, what we can do, get rid of this, and now we can use the current path to determine that whether we are on the movies or TV shows. So in order to see the TV shows as background on the TV show page, we need to tell that React that check which current path you are currently on. Front path location dot path name. So this is the variable I called it current path. You can name it whatever you want. And if you're gonna check if the current path dot includes movies, so we're checking in our app.tsx if current path includes this movies path. Then what we want it to do, we want it to fetch data and pass it the parameter movies, or actually movie, and else if current path dot includes let's say it includes TV. Actually, we have to check if it's called TV. Oh no, it's called TV show. So I'm going to copy that, put that here. Then we want to fetch data to be TV. And on home page, we can simply just say we always want to fetch movies. So we can do fetch data is movie. So with that done, now we need to actually, so everything is stored into this. Now we need to use this movie data to render that movie. So what we can do here inside this, so class name and now relative. So we used position. So I'm just in Tailwind CSS, you just directly write relatives. So here's the Tailwind CSS just kicking in. Background cover, background should be center, and we can give it a height is equal to the current screen, and we can give it a text color white. Now we can provide it another prop called style. Inside style, let's give it a background image, and inside background image we need to pass the URL. So URL, make sure you use in the brackets, otherwise you won't be able to see the rendered result. So inside that we want to do movie data dot backdrop path. So with that, let's see if we are fetching anything. So this is the current version. All right. So you can see that there's a lot going on in here. So reason for that is because our use effect hook doesn't have an error dependency. So we need to declare an empty error dependency here. Now we can come back here. As you can see, it stopped. So every time we refresh the page, we are finally fetching the movie's background images. Here you go. And this is the deployed version, so we need to just provide it the nav link and this. So let's start working on that one. This is the hero section, so we definitely need the nav links here, these ones, and we need the title and the overview. So how are we going to do that? I'm going to put this one here. Let's buckle up. So let's start working on the navbar then. This div is the whole div, so everything is going to happen within this div. So just enter, and now let's create the navbar here. So div for navbar, and I'm going to name it class name. Top 0, width full, z index we need it 50. We can give it a duration 500 ease in to have that effect. Ease in and out. Let's say gradient to bottom from black half, let's say 70% of the black to transparent. And now I want you to actually go on to the link in the description, and then want to go onto the OneDrive, the Google Drive, sorry. Inside the Google Drive, I have got an asset folder, and that link will directly take you here. So I want you to download all these images that are here and then import it into your asset folder. So download them and bring them in this asset folder. I'm going to do this. Download, 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 download. So everything's downloaded into my download folder. I'm going to open it in the Finder. So we have got that. Let's bring them into the VS Code. I'm going to minimize this. Select these 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's it. That's done into the asset folder. Now we have these images into the asset. Hope you know how to do that. And once we've done that, I want to create, let's just do inside this navbar, we are going to create another div here. So div, let's give this a class name of here. We're going to create the image for, and how do we use images in React? We need to import them. So we import logo from assets and logo. So here, as you can see, we are getting a warning here. It's gonna say logo is declared visual is never need and cannot find module asset logo PNG or its corresponding type. So if you check the previous part, we created this modules file here for this. So how we need to fix that? We can just control D this. Instead of CSS, we can write PNG, and that warning is gone away now. We just have it's declared but never used because we haven't used it. So we're gonna use it here. Logo, and I'm just gonna name it logo as well. And then class name, we will give it relative. On the big screens, we want the width to be let's say 170 pixels. So since in Tailwind CSS we can only go up to 96, the max width, to declare a random width we need to use these scale bracket. So we need to do 170 pixels. On large, we want the width. So what is extra large and large is doing? The extra large is the screen size. So these are media queries, so I'm also making it responsive at the same time. Unlike in plain CSS, we have to create media queries. In Tailwind CSS, we can just do it like this. So large one, let's say 40 pixels, because we want to shrink our logo as we shrink the screen. And the default width to this would be 32. So that's done. Now we can come down here with the navigation link. So let's create another div here and give it a class name hidden, because this is what we're creating on the larger screen. So I'm going to name it hidden MD flex. On medium devices we want it to be flex, and space export be 10, large text should be 3 XL, medium text should be XL, font bold, text gray 300, and inside this we need to provide it the NavLinks. Since we have already imported React router, we can import NavLink from the React router. So NavLink is here. Let's use the NavLink. NavLink is gonna take a prop called to. So where do we want to send this link to? When this is clicked, we want to send it to home. As you can see, when I'm on the home page, you can see that orange and the size is a little bigger when I'm on the movie. So we know which page we are currently on. So we need to do that this way. Is active So if the class is active, what we're gonna do, we're gonna provide it with the orange color, I believe we have. So text orange 600 and scale to 125, else just leave it empty. So we got the logo here, and we still working on that nav link because we haven't provided a name yet, so we can name it home. So you can see we are currently on home and the home is active. So that's done. Now we need to just copy paste it 3 times. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna copy this link 3 times because we have 3 nav links. Just give it a little bit space, and they're all gonna take the same properties except just this: movies, TV shows. Change these names. There's one more thing we need to change. Since we copied down 3 times, so we've also copied the nav link to home. We want to change it to movies for the movies and TV shows for the TV shows. And now one more thing we need, if we come to our deployed version, if you look at that here, we have got these icons like info icons, and when we are on the smaller devices we see a hamburger menu here. So in order to get those icons, what we need to do is we can come to Google, search for Google icons, click on the first one, material symbol icons. So you search for info, click on it, copy this, and same as this one, just put it underneath here. And we can also change this. We don't want our app to be called react+TS app. We want to call it movies info tsx. And I've noticed we have got this svg. I will remove that so we don't actually have that the read as, what do you call them, favicon here. So remove that one, and then now this is where our app currently stand. And if I minimize this, you can see that we are currently changing paths. So you can see here we are on TV shows. Now I click on home, I'm on the home page. I click on movies, I'm on the movies, and the currently movie is active. In the TV show is currently active. So home, another way to confirm it, I'm on the home, movie, I'm in the movies, and TV shows, I'm in the TV show page. Back to Navbar. We now need our search bar. So here we need to declare our search bar, and for the search, what we can do, let's create another div here for the search. My bad. Input with the type text. What are the other we're going to provide this input, we're going to provide it for now. We're going to provide it a placeholder search, and we can give it a class name, provide it some styling, so border none, outline none, padding 2, padding axis will be 4, and on the large devices we will make the width go 96. I mean extra large devices. On the large devices we will make the width go to 44. Let's change the background customly. That would be this color, F8 F8 37. So it's a grayish color we want to give it to, and let's be rounded full, so the borders are rounded fully. Text would be white when we search inside this, and placeholder color can be neutral 300. So here it is, looks very bold, that one. So we need to change that actually. Okay, my bad, I need to move it outside the nav link. outside this div, that's why. So it should be below this div because the font color is also applying to that as well. So that's done. If you want to give it a search icon, let's do that too, because we need a search icon as well. So we can do search. Let's copy that, paste it into your index.css, the index.html file. Back to this, let's give it that search to this input. So now the input is here. We can give it a span with the class relative left, giving it a minus. So when you're giving negative value, you have to use negative left and then the value you actually giving it. Material symbol outlined, and the symbol name is search. That didn't work. So the search symbol is not working here. Have I got it right? Material symbols. Yep, that worked. So the search symbol is there. A little bit off what I thought. Well, can be fixed. And come up to the div where we are creating this search bar. We can name it class name. So median, it will be shown on the phone because this is the menu that we see on the large devices. So median flex item center, perfectly aligned. That's working. Now what we can do next is to use that user image that we have on our deployed version. So this user image we need, and we can do that in another image. Of course we need to import that here. So just below that, I'm gonna import user from this name. You can give it whatever name you want, but when you import it from where you importing, you have to import it as the file name. So user, so I'm just gonna call it user just to be relative. As I say, just always try to be relative, so you know what you're actually importing there. User logo, and let's give this image a class name as well. We'll give it a width of 10, height 10, just to give it equal size and rounded full. Cursor pointer, duration 300, ease in and out, just to give it the animation effect. Hover, let's make the scale go 1/110, and also make it rotate 90 degree. Let's hope that's working. We are here. Well, now we got our symbol. Okay, so hover effect, scale is working, rotation is not working. Let's see what's wrong with that. So rotate is 90. This was supposed to be duration 300, not decoration 300, because I call it hov, not hover. That's working. So as you can see, our Navbar is coming alive pretty much. You just need to shrink the sizes, bring their title and overview, almost there. But there's one more thing. We need the hamburger menu because we need to shrink it on the smaller devices and bring up the mobile menu. So now let's do that. So after this div, let's create the hamburger menu here, and I'm just gonna give it a button here first. Class name would be block on the median device. Anything below median, it should be hidden, so it will be only visible below 740 pixel, I believe. That's the median size. and text white, text size, let's make it 3XL. And what do we want to call this button? Go Google hamburger menu copy. I'm just going to use an alternative then. So here's this. I'm just going to copy this from here, come back to our website, close this, we don't need it anymore, leave it here, and here's the menu. Yep, perfect. So I can remove that class. So this is how our app currently looks like, and now we have that hamburger, but the hamburger menu is useless. If I click on it, it doesn't do anything. We want it to have an app drawer from the side, slide it down just like the deployed version. So how we can achieve that? We can come all the way up here. We need another use state here for that. So we can create const is menu open and set is menu open use state, and initialize it with a false value, because by default we want that app drawer to be closed all the time. Now we can come back all the way down here, and after this we can start creating our hamburger menu and the app drawer. So we can do that with the new div here, give it a class name, and we can actually use template literals here. So because we are conditionally going to open this div, so we need that template literals here. Inside this we can use the is menu open that we declared up there, is menu open. Then what we want to do, then we need double quotation here because we are inside that template literal, and now we need to translate the x-axis from 0, else another double quote, you want to translate all. Actually we want to translate x to full, so we want to show that whole drawer to the left side. After this we can do transition transform, give it a duration 300, ease in and out. So this div now going to contain the NavLinks and all the Navbar menu on an app drawer. So we are going to work within this div now. So again, let's get a button here to close this, because we definitely need a close button for the app drawer. Let's do a button, give it a class name, let's close that button, and inside this class let's give it a position absolute, top 4, right 4, and text 3XL. So we are giving it a position absolute and moving 4 from the top, and if you hover over this you will know that 1 rem is equal to 16, so we are literally giving it this 16 pixels. And let's provide this an on click event, on click. With that we wanna set is menu open. So what we are doing, this is the set is menu open, we setting it to false again, so when we click on this button it will close the menu. And now we again need a symbol here to close that. Here we can provide it with an X as a symbol, or you can use your emojis if you want to, but I'm going to just leave it as X. Let's open another class here. Let's create another div here for our NavLinks. For that app drawer, again that's just gonna be same as NavLink but with different styling. So first div is gonna have this container is gonna have a class name of flex columns. Items should be aligned from start, space y, we can give it 4. Padding on the y-axis we can give it 8 vertically, and on the x-axis we can give the padding 6. And inside this, what we're gonna do, that's where our NavLinks comes in. Again, NavLink, it's gonna take 2 prop, so we're always gonna ask you for that. So we're going the home page, first one to there, and let's give it some class name as well. Class name cursor, oh my bad, cursor will be pointer. Text gonna be extra large. Hover effect would make the text go gray 400. And now all we can do, again, I'm gonna align the items, copy this. Oh, we forgot to call it home. Copy this nav, paste it twice, and you know what to do. Change the home to movies, change this to TV shows, and also change these links to movies. This is actually TV shows, and this one would be movies. So that's ready. The last thing we need now after these nav links, we need our search input for the mobile version as well. Definitely we need the user should be able to search the movies from the mobile or the smaller devices. Let's give it a class name of margin top 4 and padding on horizontally, let's give it 6. Again, we need input type text. We are going to provide it some on change and a value, because right now we're just creating a UI. When we gonna implement the search functionality, then we're gonna come back here again and work on these inputs as well. So right now, just placeholder, again search, and let's have a class name with width full, padding 2, background gray, 300, rounded all, actually rounded full, text black, placeholder gray 500. It's a little bit different from the search bar we actually creating on that one. So with that, now we have got this div. This div is containing this whole section. So that's the mobile menu here. Alright, so now that we have got the mobile menu sorted, what we can do is we can check if we are able to open it. So here we are seeing the large menu, and then now we on the hamburger, we can click on it. It's not working, so that hamburger menu is not opening because where is the hamburger menu button? Here it is. It's not opening because right now we haven't provided any on click event to this. So I forgot to do that. Let's do that now. On click, so we do this way. So we provided that we open set is menu open, and we pass it is menu open, so we can use it to open and close that. Now let's go back. Here we have that. We can close it, we can open it, we can click on home, we can type in search, and we can close it. That's working now, see? And this menu will be hidden on the larger screen, so we cannot see it. can only appear once we click on that hamburger menu and close it. So that's working fine. So what's the next thing we're gonna do is we have to finally show the information of that current movie that we are seeing on the our cover page. So we want the title of this movie. So this is 1 or 2. We want to see that here and an overview about it, just like our deployed version here. So right now we don't see anything. Let's go ahead and do that in that last div. So here let's open up another div, give it a class name of absolute inset 0 flex and flex column, justify content to center, items to start, and text to left. So this is like how you do in plain CSS, text align left. You just simply type text to left. Padding on the x-axis would be 8, background black, and give it some opacity. Let's say 50. Inside this div we can do h1. So I'm gonna name this h1 movie data dot title, and a p tag here which will also be movie data dot overview. So we are seeing that information right here now, back in action, number 24 on the brink of the. So that's just not at where we want it. So let's bring it to the position where we exactly want it. So we're gonna give this h1 a class name of text 5xl. So big text font would be bold, and margin bottom would be 4, and give it space, tracking, space tracking actually wider. So that's right, but it's still not where we actually want it. So we're gonna fix that in a minute, but first let's give our overview class name of text XL max width 2XL. Now let's create that button. So the button would be, for the more info, class name, margin top 4, padding on the x-axis would be 2, padding on the y-axis would be 2. Instead of this we can just give it padding 2 all around actually, because it's the same thing. Background, let's give it #9 D9 A96 AC. Font would be bold, rounded, let's give it large, ease in and out. Actually first we need to give it a duration 300, ease in and out. Hover background would be white, and hover text will be black. Flex, obviously give it flex row, reverse, items, center, justify around, width 28, and call it more info. Then inside this more info we need a span which will have a class name to get that material symbol outlined, and the name of that symbol is info. More info is there. Just need to fix this the way that is all over the place. Okay, so that's done. Now we can check how our app looks like. So I see that we have this text on the mid all the way on the top, but it's supposed to be in the middle here, just like this version. So there's something wrong in our class. I believe it's the absolute, so I'm spelling absolute wrong. So that's definitely one thing that we need to do when we are working with this kind of thing. So absolute is wrong, and now we can see that it's perfectly lining on that. So it's working perfectly fine. Our version is kind of looking like this one. Here I have used fonts from Google, and here I'm just using the default font. So if you want to know how to do that, I will actually show you that in a bit. But first we need to fix the width of this. So we can change this width to 32, I believe. Yep, that's perfect now. So you can see that it's, so our navbar is pretty much alive now, just looking exactly like the deployed version. So now we can see the difference. Here is our version that we just created, and here is the deployed version. So only different is right now is the font. So you can see the font families are a little bit different on this one and this one. So let's go ahead and get the Google fonts and implement it into our app. So in order to bring the fonts that we are using in our deployed version, like this one, we need to go to Chrome, search for Google Fonts, and the fonts that we are currently using is, I may have it here, but let me just first clear this. So we wanna use Bebas. So this one, we get the font, and we again come back to fonts, search for Tasadit. Here it is. I don't know how to pronounce this. Tasadit. Get this font, and again back to fonts. The last one we need is Nunito, and we can also get this font. So once we have done all three of them, get the embedded code for this. And since we are using a link, so we're gonna copy this link, the first one, and back to our VS Code, we're gonna paste it inside our HTML index.html file over here. So that's all for now. And now we come to our index.css file here. We want our body to have a black color by default. So let's provide our body a default color that says apply BG natural 900. And I should have done that in the beginning of the project, but I'm gonna do it now. Let's just provide some default margins to the entire. So let's provide the default margins to the entire app. So we go start and we do margin. Now we're doing some plain CSS here. We're gonna use this file to actually create some custom classes as well. So with the Tailwind CSS, we will be using our plain CSS as well, so customizing something, and we want that as border box. Now we're gonna create a class for our overview text for this one to provide it that font from Google. So I'm gonna name this class overview text, and inside this we can give it a font family of, let's say, Bebas, NEUV new, and it comes from serif family. And now we can create another class here. I'll just copy this down. I'll name this Navbar text, and we can provide it the THAS ADITH. I hope that's how it's spelled. Let me just double check from Chrome. I'll just copy it from here with the capital T. So that's done. And overview text, we can also give it a font, custom font weight of 100. Now we need to just copy this class, come to Navbar where we are entering our overview. That's all the way down here if I'm not wrong. Movie.overview, we can put the class here, and now we can see the difference. Looks like I provided the wrong class. So overview is Nonito, sorry, my bad. So if you go back to index.css, actually the overview text is not Bebas, that's for the movie titles that come later when we actually display the movies. So for now, this one we need Nonito serif. As you can see, it has changed, similar to this one. And this one is Moana 2. I think that's movie title, so we can actually provide this class as well. So let's just create another class here, dot movie title, and we can provide it the font family. Again, that was Bebas new serif. Copy this class, come back to Navbar. Where was the movie.title is here, and I will give it to this one. So as you can see, this and this looks similar now. So this is our current version. Now we need to change the font on the NavLinks. So let's check out what the NavLinks looking like here. I believe it's the same as the overview text. So let's see if we can provide that same class overview text to that. So we have another class we have created here in index.css, which is called Navbar text. So that's gonna go into Navbar, and where we have the navigation links, this one we can provide it that, not this one, we go up there, this one, yeah. So with this class we can give it Navbar text, and now that looks like just like this one. So home, movies, TV shows, movies, home, everything is looking just exactly like our deployed version here. So that's it, guys. We have now finally created our Navbar, and now the next part we're gonna do is we're gonna create an home page, a movies page, and a TV shows page. We have already created the components, I believe, in the second part, but now we're gonna actually implement the functionality where home page actually render movies when we scroll up, and when we go on movies we see movies, and when we click on TV shows we see TV shows. So that's the next part. Let's see how we're gonna do that, and I hope you have followed all the instruction correctly. Please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe the channel for upcoming project, and I will see you in the next video.